And welcome to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show right here at 6 Scale Cantina. So my goodness, we've got a ton to discuss here on this episode. Figures trending up, figures trending down, the whole market value chart shaking up. Same thing with the biggest mover section. We've got Cody to discuss. We got the heavy infantry Mandalorian to discuss. We got Katan to discuss. We got so much to discuss. Let's get into it right now. Alright, and welcome everyone to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show right here at 6 Scale Cantina. So my, it has been a crazy week with Star Wars Hot Toys. We have so much to discuss, and it's really good to be back. So, this is a market outlook edition of the Market Value Chart Show. So we will be heading on over to the biggest movers section on 6scalecantina.com and then the Market Value Chart, and then we'll head on over to Sideshow to take a look at the best sellers for Star Wars Hot Toys as well. So let's go ahead and dive right into it, folks. So going to 6scalecantina.com, there's been a lot of shakeup within the biggest movers section. So moving on down to the first line, and you could see up here on the screen the heavy infantry Mandalorian. So I'm getting a lot of questions from a ton of you about, my take on this figure. So now that I'm back, we can go ahead and discuss it. This figure now, when you go to Sideshow, it was on waitlist, but it's waitlist full. And if you look at the retail price, this was a high price figure, $281. So it's not surprising to me that right now, because of the what did they make, one batch of this? Or, it's very low. It's very low, the quantity that they made of this figure. And so right now, $384 and trending up, according to the market value chart. So basically, $100 over from where it was at retail in just basically a few days. So, not so surprising to me, because this is a Mandalorian figure that there's not a whole lot of, and it didn't even make it in stock. And I was saying for several episodes that I would be surprised if this would make it in stock. When we get to the Sideshow portion of this show, I am going to point out that I think the same exact thing is going to happen with IG-11. But let's hold that and continue with this segment first. So, not so surprising with this figure. It is a Mandalorian figure, and it is a Mandalorian. And I think the other upside to this figure, besides low quantities and it being a Mandalorian character, is the fact that I do think there is a strong possibility that this in particular character can show up in Season 3 to get mixed up in the whole dynamic between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan and that whole situation there. I can certainly see, this whole faction getting back involved. If this character does show up, watch out. So, if this character shows up, this is without question a $500 tier range figure. And really, many of the Rogue One figures are. And, they didn't make a whole lot of these either, this heavy infantry Mandalorian. So, it's really not too, surprising to me. When you go ahead and look at some recent, there's a lot of data that shows this selling within the $400 tier range. When you get some people trying to capitalize on this really quick, you can see 9 sold really in just a matter of days for $380. Coming all the way from China, Hong Kong. You have to wait till the middle of May to get it at that price. So you're getting it a little bit cheaper here but the market value chart is showing right now trending up $384. Do I think that this particular figure will be entering the $400 tier range? I do. I do think sometime over the next few weeks that this figure will be a $400 tier range figure. Now, is it possible that this heavy infantry Mandalorian could hit the $500 tier range? And I think it is, because the Mandalorian is hot, Star Wars is hot, this is a character from the Mandalorian, it is a Mandalorian, Mandalorians are cool, and again, if this character shows up in Season 3, watch out. That's my initial thoughts on this piece. Let's go ahead and go to the next figure. So, continuing to go down this list on the biggest mover section, you see on the screen next, Commander Cody. So, I mentioned this in the last episode before I went MIA, and there wasn't enough data to show where this was at within the secondary market. But the market value chart shows that this is now a $300 tier range figure and is currently at $320 and rising. So, this is a very, very strong release by Hot Toys. And with all of the prequel figures that they have come out with, and hopefully others that they're going to come out with, and with all of the pre-orders up for the Clone Wars and other hopefully forthcoming Clone Wars figure announcements, I think for many collectors, having Commander Cody, if they did not pick him up yet, is going to be a figure that many collectors are going to want within their collection, including Captain Rex. Now, I believe that in the very short term, while this is $320 and rising, I think this will be a $350 tier range figure until Rex gets released in Hong Kong. And I believe when that does, you're going to see this Cody rise up a little bit more. And then once Captain Rex gets into stock, it is not going to be in stock for as long as this Cody sat in stock in any capacity. And we're going to get into that a little bit later on the sideshow segment of this show, so I don't want to dive into all of it now. But I believe as Rex goes, so does this Cody figure, and they both will this year be $400 tier range figures, and I think when it's all said and done, they will be $500 tier range figures in the future because of how many figures from this era, this timeline, Hot Toys is coming out with. There's going to be many collectors that are just going to want a Cody and a Rex with all the excitement from figures within this timeline. So, certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on for sure. Let's continue to go down the biggest mover section. So K2 Erso, no surprise there, continues to rise up. Here's a new entry, another new entry. There's a lot that has changed within this biggest mover section. So this has been showing signs, all the gins have been showing signs for a while that they are going to blow up. And they have. Price-wise. This Jyn Erso Deluxe has entered the $500 tier range. Wow. So, just bringing up one recent auction here. From March 5th, $586 with 23 bids. So, I knew this is a great character from a very, very good movie, and I don't think they made a ton of any of these Rogue One figures. So if you're seeing where this figure is right now, and Rogue One is, a lot of people like the movie, but right now, the Mandalorian is hotter than anything right now. So you see where Jyn is. They didn't make many of this heavy infantry Mandalorian. You could just venture to guess where this is going to be, down the road. So, again, just bringing that back up. But let's continue to go down. Tarkin Invader, again, G-Pack, This 2-pack continues to rise. R2-D2. So R2-D2, A New Hope, on the move and has entered the $400 tier range. So you can see one right here from March 3rd, $405 and change US. And let's see if we have another one. From March 7th, $442 with over 40 bids. So the interesting thing about this particular figure is the Force Awakens version has not budged, but this A New Hope version has. So, is it possible that Hot Toys will be releasing a Mandalorian version of R2 in the very short term? And I've already addressed this in a prior episode. I believe that it is. I believe they're going to release and announce an R2 this year, and hopefully with a Luke Skywalker from the Mandalorian Season 2 finale. And I believe that they will, and I think that there is a strong possibility that that could even be featured within a 2-pack. Certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on for sure. So continuing to go down this list, you see Count Dooku continues to rise. DX-18 Maul continues to rise, and then you see on the screen, there's Leia Endor by herself. So, I mentioned this in the last video, my initial thoughts on the Leia and Wicket 2-pack going on waitlist. I do think that that is a very strong set, and I do think that all of the Leias really that Hot Toys has released thus far have been really strong, really good releases, I think. And so you see where the Hoth Leia is trending up within the secondary market. You see where A New Hope Leia is trending up within the secondary market. And really with, this Endor Leia and also the Bespin Leia is also trending up. It's not trending up as much as this Endor Leia, which is why it's not in the biggest mover section, but it is trending up on the market value chart. But all of those Leias are all good. And I did mention in a prior video that somewhere between $30 to $60 are all going to be around one another at the end of the day, in a year or 2 or 3 down the road. So, if you're interested in a Leia figure, and you don't want to spend, over $400 for a Hoth Leia, or for A New Hope Leia, you can pick up this Leia right now within the secondary market in the high $200 tier range, or around $300 right now. You can also pick up the Bespin Leia as well now, also going into the higher $200 tier range. And I think now is the time if you want a Leia in your collection, because I do believe that these will catch up and go into the $300 tier range and be in that mid $300 tier range where Hoth Leia was for a while and now moving up. So just some food for thought there on that particular figure. So, when you look at some other data in pertaining to, this 2-pack, let's see if I can pull up over here. So, already 3 bids at $400 for this 2-pack with 3 days left. You wouldn't have found this people bidding on this set used like this before it went before a week ago. But now that it's on waitlist, you're starting to see that, and you could even see here with Wicket. Wicket is also starting to trend up. Not enough to make it to the biggest mover section, but trending up within the market value chart nonetheless. You can see here 6 sold at $229, a U.S. seller. And, this is starting to trend up as well. So, I do think that ultimately, this 2-pack by Leia and Wicket 2-pack will ultimately be a $600 tier range figure, but that's not really so surprising because, it retailed for, $420. So, yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's where it's going to be. Do I think it's going to go more than that? I don't know. I think, like I said, there's more of a prospect for this Leia, by herself, but certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on. This is a very good set, and again, I also have the Bespin Leia. I mean, all of the Leias, the Leia Hoth and the Leia A New Hope, they're all really good. None of them really outshine the other by any long stretch. So if you're going to get a Leia, I would maybe, jump on it now. So going to the market value chart segment of the show, remember whenever you get to the market value chart, go ahead and hit that current value column arrow a couple of times so you get the highest ranked figures to the lowest ranked figures so it's easy to navigate. And as you see that I have sorted out right here. So let's briefly go down this list. There's been a lot of figures that recently trended up that have leveled off, and very interestingly, did not crash down and trend down. They weren't a fad like some of those Luke Return of the Jedi figures where they shot so high up and then they shot way back down. So many of these that were trending up, they did level off into their new tier range. And again, they weren't a fad. They've hit that new level, and we'll have to see. Will they eventually go back down, or will they trend up again? So let's briefly go down. Number 1, Han and Chewie, again. Top one, $900 and steady. This figure sells $1,000, $1,100, high 700s, 800s, 900s. You can go ahead and look at a recent auction right here. Here's one on the screen, March 5th. 23 bids, $850. Another one, March 7, 24 bids, $924. Very highly sought after, very iconic 2-pack. Same thing with this Tarkin Invader, very iconic 2-pack, $840 and rising. And you have to wonder, is it possible that the Mandalorian Boba Fett Deluxe set that's up for pre-order at Sideshow right now, is it possible that that set will hit the secondary market prices that you see these two at right now? And I will tell you that that deluxe set of Boba Fett from The Mandalorian Season 2 is just as iconic right now as this Tarkin Invader 2-pack and this Han and Chewie from A New Hope. So, it's certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on once that figure does get officially released and goes on waitlist. It's going to be very, very interesting, folks. Let's continue to go down this list. So Shore Trooper did level off at $662. It rised, and it didn't sink down. $662 and steady. Luke Bespin still steady. Anakin Darkside leveled off $633. It's a $600 tier range figure. This figure, this Anakin Darkside, it continually sells within the $700 tier range and continually sells all within the $600 tier range. So you have to wonder, is it possible that this Darkside Anakin, could this hit the $700 tier range where you see some of these iconic 2-packs at the top of the list? Let me know what you think within the comment section below. But I will tell you that that Clone Wars version of Anakin, that's essentially the same head sculpt as this Darkside Anakin, it has not affected this figure in any way, shape, or form recently. So you do have to wonder, will this sink back down, or will this just continue to rise? We'll have to keep an eye on it. K2SO, 623 and rising. Boba Fett Animated, 610 and steady. Emperor Deluxe, again, another set another figure that shot right up $600 tier range and leveled off within the $600 tier range. Not a fad with this secondary market boost for this in particular figure. And you have to wonder, could this figure stay within the $600 tier range? Or is it possible that this Emperor Deluxe could even hit the $700 tier range? As I mentioned in a prior episode, right around 9 months ago, I picked this up at retail, this deluxe set, and it was sitting in stock for the longest time, I believe, at Sideshow, and was readily available for a very reasonable secondary market price for the longest time. So you do have to wonder, is this a priority for Hot Toys to reissue this Return of the Jedi version of the Emperor Deluxe this year, or even next year in 2022, or even, whatever year you want to pick? So It's certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on, but it's very possible this could stay within a $600 tier range, maybe even hit $700. Let's continue to go down this list. So, Anakin, Revenge of the Sith, non-dark side version, $592 in steady, and this is showing signs that it could hit the $600 tier range. Is it possible? Let me know what you think. There's Jyn Erso Deluxe, $510. There it is. It entered the $500 tier range and rising. Let's continue to go down this list. Remnant Trooper, of course, rising, $366, $369 for the Solo Maul. They're neck and neck. Darth Maul DX16, $365 and rising. So there's a couple down here. Let's go down that I wanted to get to quickly. That kind of changed. So there's Leia Bespin, $268 and rising. So this was rising slowly and more than the Endor one, but the Endor one really caught up. And it's just $1 behind it, so that's why it's in the biggest mover section. Again, both of these figures neck and neck, and both of those figures, I believe, are going to go right where the Leia Hoth is. And let's see if I could find the Leia Hoth. Let's go just back up and see exactly where she is. So Leia, Empire Strikes Back Hoth, $375 and steady. And this is showing signs that it could hit the $400 tier range in the coming weeks. So that's going to be very interesting. And then really moving down, I wanted to show Wicket here. You can see Wicket, $226 and rising. So very, very interesting. Well, that's going to go ahead and bring us to the third segment of the program, and we are going to head on over to Sideshow. So over here at Sideshow.com, I have it sorted out as usual, best-selling wise for Star Wars Hot Toys. And you can see, still number one is that Boba Fett deluxe set from The Mandalorian Season 2. Now again, when you sort this out, bestsellers wise, mixing in Marvel, DC, everything Hot Toys, this deluxe set at $495 is still number one. So you have to wonder, how long will this set at that price stay at number one? It's going to be very interesting. When it does trend down, I don't think it's going to go very far down the list at all. And as I mentioned before, this set I pre-ordered right away. And I absolutely do not pre-order every release by Star Wars Hot Toys in any capacity, even ones that I know that I am absolutely 100% going to get. Like that Bo-Katan you see to the right of it. There's no doubt I'm going to get that figure, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But I didn't pre-order that, and I don't feel any strong urge that I need to do it at this moment. But again, this Boba Fett deluxe set, I've got a gut feeling on this. Remember, Hot Toys does not operate like some other toy manufacturers like Hasbro and other lines. This is not going to come into stock. And as stock starts to dwindle, they're just going to reopen production lines and just keep pumping these out. There is going to be a stopping point for this. And you have to remember, this Tamora Morrison figure is not available on its own. The Boba Fett with the suit is available on its own. The non-deluxe version. But you absolutely cannot pick up that Tamora Morrison figure in those robes by itself. And I do think it is possible that we could get, once this gets released in Hong Kong, that it is very, very possible that this could hit waitlist even before it gets in stock. It's not because there's going to be a lack of them making these. They are going to pump out a certain amount of this near $500 set. But I do not believe that they are going to pump out astronomical amounts of this set to sit at Sideshow for months upon months. I don't believe that that's going to happen. So if you know that you want this set and you've already budgeted and allocated for it, man, get this set. I pre-ordered it. Just do not want to take a chance with it. There has been a time before where, there has been times where, some of these figures go on waitlist before, they get into stock. And you have to wonder, this is a very peculiar set, because it's not like you just don't get the head sculpt with the deluxe version. You don't get a whole figure on its own, which is a little bit rare. The only way to get this figure is with the set, but you can get the other figure on its own. Again, that is an absolutely epic, fabulous release by Hot Toys. And out of all the releases that they're going to come out with for Mandalorian, I believe that right now in the short term, this is the epic one. So absolutely do not sleep on this. And I would pre-order it if you know you're going to get it. I just think it's going to be so highly sought after. But again, how long will it stay at number one at that price point? It's going to be very interesting, folks, indeed. Remember, unlike a quarter scale figure or other comparable figures at that price, this is two figures. So, kind of like those 2-packs that we brought up about Han and Chewie, Tarkin and Vader. It's going to be very interesting for sure. Okay, so while I was away, and as I thought, and a lot of you thought, Katan did get released late last week. So it did happen. This figure looks great. I'm so glad that Hot Toys is giving us a head sculpt, a Katie Sackhoff head sculpt with this. I mean, I really enjoyed her in the reimagined Battlestar Galactica series. One of my favorite TV shows of all time is that Battlestar Galactica. That and 24 with Kiefer Sutherland really helped changed TV so much. But I really enjoyed her in there, and she was actually in 24 as well. I think she was in season 7 or was it season 8? Maybe it was season 7. But I really like Katie Sackhoff. I'm so happy for her that she gets her own Star Wars action figure. I mean, just look at that helmet. I mean, this figure looks sick. I'm very, very excited for this figure. I, like many of you, when I first saw, the head sculpt with these, release images, it's good. I was a little bit, concerned about the jawline. It seemed pretty, heavy. But it's still, I mean, you could tell that that's Katie Sackhoff. I mean, but yeah, I was a little bit like, oh, wow. But then when you look at, if you go to, again, this, a lot of all the channels are good, but I usually frequent MRC Collection Ventures. Again, MRC Collection Ventures. Look him up. Goes to Secret Base a lot. And, he took, here's an image, from Facebook from Secret Base, and it looks better than, Hot Toys sometimes when they take these initial promo pictures, I think that the lighting sometimes comes off a little weird, but this looks better than what's showed on here, for sure. And if you go to MRC Collection Ventures, I think he just put up a video the other day, and here's a still shot from his video. Again, go check him out, MRC Collection Ventures. YouTube channel. I got the link within the video description below. Go watch this video. He's got way bigger close-ups than this. It's worth it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's certainly not the best. I still think they got a little bit of work to do, but Hot Toys, the way that they've been in their final production, at least recently, for the most part, they've kind of. I expect this to be, improved upon even more. Even when you look at and I'm going to jump down, the sideshow list to, when you look at this array, I mean, this was a really strong, I mean, it's okay, but I wasn't too impressed. This looked like a step down from the prior array releases. But again, I have the link within the video description below. Go to MRC Collection Ventures, and he was one of the. He went ahead and went to Secret Base. I mean, you could look right here, just the still. I mean, this just looks so much better. And I think that when the final production photos come out of this ray, it's going to be more like what you're seeing on the screen. And again, go check it out. Let me know what you think. But I think it's going to be better than this, and certainly the same thing with this. With this Bo-Katan. I mean, yeah. I mean, the prototype at Secret Base looks better. So, yeah, I think that. But anyway, I mean, really getting this figure for. I mean, look at that armor. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, and it works. It's a Mandalorian figure, and it's really a Clone Wars figure, right? Too. So, yeah, this is a strong release. But this is a release that it's a great release, like the OG Mandalorian, and the Beskar Mandalorian, and many of the other releases, and it's gonna be in stock. So I don't think you have to. With everything coming out, there's hype, it's excitement. They're going to come out with, they're going to come out with the, this figure and that figure from the Mandalorian and this surprise release and this Clone Wars figure. And I think it's good to pre-order if you want to, but not every figure is going to go on waitlist before it gets in stock, like that heavy infantry Mandalorian that you see on the screen. They didn't make many batches of that. They're going to make a ton of these, a lot more of those Bo-Katans. But then again, when I'm going back to, again, the Boba Fett is a little bit different. That figure is not, the Tamora Morrison one's not by itself. I'll have to go into that again. But there's just a lot of peculiarities with that set, and that's why I pre-ordered that and why I recommend doing it. But, yeah, this is a good release. I'm going to get it. Again, I don't need the figure. I don't need it within the first batch for me personally. So, once it gets closer, I'll pre-order it, and I'll get it. Some people are going to get it 3, 4, 5 months before me, but that's okay. But yeah, am I excited about this release? Yeah, I think it's exciting for the collecting community and for Star Wars fans and for the Mandalorian. This is a good release. Again, it's a Mandalorian. Happy for Katie Sackhoff. It's a good, it's a decent head sculpt. I think they'll improve on it. And this is number 2. Sorted out bestsellers wise, and even when you sort it out with everything combined Hot Toys, it's number 2. And that brings me to the Mandalorian with the Child deluxe set. This is number 3 when you sort it all out with everything as well, not just with Star Wars. And that goes to show you that everything Mandalorian is. I mean, I can't tell you how long that this has been in the top 5. This Mandalorian with the Child deluxe. It's been for months. A long time. So it can kind of tell you how the ones before it are going to perform, long term within this best selling wise. They're making a lot more of this Beskar version of the Mandalorian than they did the OG Mando. But there's a lot of pre-orders on this. I mentioned it before. So don't automatically assume that this is just going to sit in stock for as long as the OG Mando did. Certainly not the non-deluxe set that we'll see below over here, because they most certainly, I believe, made a lot less of the non-deluxe than they did the deluxe for this release anyway. So, yeah, if you want this figure and you're waiting on this figure, again, I don't know how many more times you are going to get, a Mando. I think the next Mandalorian release is going to come with a Pedro Pascal head sculpt. It's not going to come with another Grogu. I think this might be the only time that you get Grogu with the Mandalorian for some time. You probably have a better chance of getting another Grogu, small piece, with the upcoming Luke Skywalker Mandalorian release announcement than I think you would with Mando again. So I think this is going to be a very highly sought after set. Again, a lot of pre-orders on this, and I wouldn't sleep on it because I don't think it's going to sit in stock for as long as that OG Mando. And again, once this does hit waitlist, it's going to take that OG Mandalorian that's leveled off at somewhere around 325 to 350 or so, and it's going to take it right back up into the $400 tier range. So, just saying. Let's continue to go down this list. So, Commander Cody, as you can see here, waitlist open. We already talked about that at the onset of the program. But let's go ahead and go to IG-11. So, IG-11, not surprising, moved all the way up to number 6, best-selling wise, because the reviews they look incredible on this figure. I do have this figure pre-ordered. It's a very good character from The Mandalorian Season 2, and like K2SO, K2SO was a really fun character, an important character in Rogue One. And you see how that droid is doing within the secondary market. And I don't think that they made many more of this IG-11 than that K2SO. And just like this heavy infantry Mandalorian, if you want this figure and you plan on getting this figure, I wouldn't sit on it like I'm sitting on this Bo-Katan. I am going to get this Bo-Katan. There's no doubt about it. But, this very possible that this IG-11, like this Mandalorian, it's possible that this will not land in stock. We've talked about Qui-Gon many times before. If you want Jedi and you want this figure, and right now it's $235, and my goodness, folks, how many figures do we get with a head sculpt and a lightsaber for $235 anymore? I mean, you could look at this Bo-Katan; it's $285. So this is a scoop. $235 for Qui-Gon Jinn, and I could tell you right now that this Qui-Gon is not going to stay at $235 once it goes on waitlist and once it sells out. It is going to be a very highly sought after figure. It's going to go up to where between Dooku and Obi-Wan Kenobi is. You're already seeing the DX-16 and DX-17 really starting to trend up. And this in particular, Darth Maul works well with this Qui-Gon Jinn. So, again, if you want this Qui-Gon Jinn, I wouldn't sleep on it too much longer, because $232, my friends, is a scoop compared to the secondary market. Death Trooper, that will go on waitlist before the end of April, if not before. Jango Fett, if they release, I really think they're going to release a Mace Windu. I don't know why. With all the prequel figures that they have released, all the Clone Wars figures that are on pre-order that they're going to release, and I think it would just help this. Not that you need help with Jango Fett, with this whole, Mandalorian suit and everything here, but man, it would really increase the sales. I mean, they both would work in tandem together. I just think it's going to happen. I think it would only help this Jango Fett, for sure. So, we'll have to see. What do you think? I think the Mace is coming. And that is going to go ahead and bring to a conclusion this episode of the Market Value Chart Show. Please go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoy the content. And please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I so very much appreciate your support. Please continue to spread the word around about the Market Value Chart Show and 6scalecantina.com and the Market Value Chart. It is very much appreciated. Again, please remember to look for me on the upcoming new episode of 6 Scale Scavengers. I have the link to their channel within the video description again below. I am really super stoked to be on their program. I think we're going to have a great discussion around Star Wars Hot Toys. So please go ahead and join us. They'll be coming out with information on when that is going to air soon. Also, this coming Saturday, I do plan on having the very first live stream for the Market Value Chart Show. And I will keep you posted on that. Still have a lot of technical details to work out for that. So hopefully we have it worked out for this coming Saturday. So working hard to make that happen for sure. And hopefully we'll have a few guests on there, including Geeking Out. And I have the link to his channel within the video description again below. So please go ahead and check him out. Please also follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. I have the links within the video description below. I am going to be changing the Facebook, or coming out with a whole 6-Scale Cantina Facebook group. I mean, you would think we would need a Facebook group for the Cantina, 6-Scale Cantina. Let's do it. So I am working on that. So more information on that, and that'll wind up replacing the other just Facebook page that we have. So hopefully I'll have some details for that in the next video, or certainly on the live stream. Remember, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. See you next time.